It's the Rangers Journal now.
Hello, it is 6:30. You are live with us, you very, very lucky people. It's the Rangers Journal, and we've got a fantastic panel with us this evening to discuss that Dundee United match where, for the first time this season, we've come back from a goal down and actually won away from home. That should not be an achievement we're celebrating, but we certainly are. And to delve into the Dundee United match and do it into Hamza Igamane. I keep doing it. See, we've already discussed this beforehand, but Hamza Igamane we're going to be discussing as well. So first of all, Ricky, how you doing, big man?
Good evening, gents. Just a second pod this year for me, actually. So it's been a while since I was on. So looking forward to dissecting everything that happened yesterday. Looking forward to seeing it.
Well, you know what? At least it's a win you're on for. A win away from home as well. Rarer than hen's teeth this season. So, you saved it for the good pod there, Ricky. Well, good to see you tonight, mate. And, of course, we're here with Ryan. Ryan, how you doing, big man?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure to have you on, Ryan. Always a pleasure to have you on. And, Jock, how you doing, mate? You ready to discuss the fantastic win over Dundee United?
Yeah, an away win, as you say. It's a rarity for this season, so I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for letting me be here.
No worries, no worries. It's good to have the A-team on tonight, especially talking about a fantastic victory up at Tannadice, where we actually came back from a goal down to win, which is just something that we just don't see enough of this season from Rangers. But yeah, no, there was a mini achievement in that. But so we'll go into the team yesterday that faced Dundee United. Of course, we are starting to go through a little bit of an injury crisis again. I think we've got around about 12 players out. So we've got 2 11 sides that could probably beat each other. But yep, Jack Butland was back in goal. We had a back four of James Tavernier, Robin Proper, Nsiala and Jeff Day. Now, there was a bit of debate whether this was actually a 4-4-2 or it can revert to the 4-2-3-1. Sky Sports did go with the 4-4-2 and it did look more like a 4-4-2. However, BBC reckoned that it did revert to the 4-2-3-1. Jury's out on that one, I guess. But we had Raskin and Diamande in that kind of midfield role. You had Haji, Dessers and Bajrami in the middle. And of course, we had Hamza Igamane. I keep doing it. Igamane, I'm going to say it 50 times and I'm going to get it right. So apologies if you're listening, Hamza. So yes, we had 2 strikers on the park. Ricky, what did you reckon to that team yesterday? Was that as strong as we could be at the minute?
Yeah, it picked itself, Andrew. I don't think there's any argument really how they were going to start. For me, I would much prefer to see Haji through the middle, linking the play. The 2 up top, if it was a 4-4-2, Igamane's never ever going to be that kind of man up top on his own, even when he plays there. He always drops inside. He's a clever player. I mentioned this in the kind of chat yesterday. You look at Shearer and you look at Kane, they've scored multiple goals and they always drop in field. And that's just the way they style of play. And for me, Igamane's very similar to that because he's a talented player. He knows when to make the runs. And we're not going to discuss him later on, but he's a gem of a player and we're probably lucky to have him. But the defence, just quickly going on to Thursday night, we were playing Ridvan at right back and he was a lost little boy against the big boys, I'm afraid, because we haven't got any cover to cover Tav. Tav had to come inside because we're so depleted in our defence, and it's glaringly obvious for me we need at least one, if not 2 centre-halves now. We can't rely on Balogun. Suter's always injured. Sterling's always injured. We've got to address this problem between now and Friday night. And we need the right back cover. We can't go through this season with Ridvan as being a replacement right back for me. We just middle of the park, up top, we're looking quite strong. We've got good replacements on the bench, and I think it's enough for the Clermont once injuries are back to work with. But we've got to address this defensive issue for me.
Yeah, we certainly do. I think that's where Rafael Fernandez might come into the picture, but of course he can't play in Europe just yet. But very, very well said there, Ricky. Ryan, the bench yesterday, looking at that team sheet, of course, it kind of, as Ricky said, picked itself. That bench had Finlay Curtis, Liam Kelly, you got Leon King, Tom Lawrence, Zach Lovelace, Ryan McCausland, Incio, Royce, and of course the new man, Rafael Fernandez. it's a bit thin on the ground, isn't it?
Yeah, so myself and Mitch had a wee bit of kind of back and forth in the chat yesterday about it. I said it was pretty weak, to put it politely. His argument back to me was, we talk about not giving youth a chance, and the youth has to come through, and it's one of the top things we always speak about, that what the Rangers need to do better. We need to develop our youth and obviously make use of Murray Park, Rockenow, whatever you want to call it these days. I always like to see a good mixture of experience and youth. That experience can come on and win you a game if they have to, but youth obviously gets the chance when the game is won. But I think we were overloaded with the amount of young players. Now, I'm glad the boys did the business yesterday, without getting into the game too much. But it could be a different story if we were turning around to Finlay Curtis looking for a winner in the game, things like that. So it is what it is. There's not really much we can do about it until Friday. We've got to get signings in, but it was great to see it was done the right way, because we've done the business early.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with you there, Ryan. Can't disagree with you there at all. Jock, speaking of the youngsters coming through, do you think some of these guys have a little bit more respect now after their performance in the second half at Old Trafford? We saw some of these players coming on and actually holding their own while we actually equalised late on. Do you think there's a future for some of these players?
Absolutely. We didn't bring a talent like Lovelace up here to this, not do anything with him within the senior team. We brought him up at 16, and we've used what we've had available within the reserve and the B teams and stuff like that to try and get him games. But these are the games that ultimately these guys are going to be judged on, no matter what age they are. I kind of felt sorry for some of the players that were strutting about at Old Trafford on Thursday night and then were dropped to the bench on Sunday, but that was always going to be the case. The senior players that weren't registered for Europe are straight back in the team. They go back to down the pecking order, but they're on the bench now because obviously all the injuries we have. They haven't done themselves any disjustice. If anything, they've probably given the manager more food for thought, thinking they can come in, they can do a job. They looked solid. Lovelace got an assist. What more can you ask from the guys? They did what was expected of them, I guess, at this standard.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think for Lovelace as well, he probably had a bit higher expectations, didn't he? Especially being a first team player at Millwall coming up the road. And don't get me wrong, he was featuring in the first team, but he took that injury against St Mirren, didn't he? Which was a bad one, of course, out for the rest of the season, which they all are at Rangers. We've got to be honest. Somebody said once or on a pod somewhere that the medical team must put on bandages with a staple gun. And I think that's quite fitting for Rangers, to be fair. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting chat about the youngsters, and I do think the future is a bit more brighter than bleak, as it has been put in recent times. But so a fairly strongish team, despite all the away form this season. Ricky, we saw Dundee United set up. We had the man of the moment, Dalby, up top. Obviously, Dundee United sitting third. Did you think Dundee United were going to be a bit of a problem yesterday?
For me, they shouldn't be, Andrew. Who are these players? Never heard of them. Obviously the manager's got them operating as a unit. They have their strengths and they play to their strengths. They've got big, strong, nasty centre halves who kind of dominate the ball, as we kind of saw that. But we should not be going into these kind of games against the likes of Dundee United and fear anybody. If you look at the budgets, the players we have, we should be quite comfortable going to these places. And we were all over. It was like game of two halves, wasn't it? We weren't great in the first half. But then you've got to realise every time we play on a Thursday night, and we love our Thursdays, we never turn up on a Sunday. I don't know why. We just cannot seem to replicate what we do on a Thursday night when we go domestic game on a Sunday. So I wasn't expecting a kind of the start. And then there was obviously 3 players come in to the team that didn't play on Thursday night. For me, it was a stronger team than on paper and what it was on Thursday night. So defensively, we were all over the shop. I think it was in the first half and they hit the post twice. So we got away with that. and we went in, and it was one each, wasn't it? And came out in the second half, and that's one of the best performances we've seen from Rangers in a 45 minutes for a long, long time. So it's just kind of weird how we cannot replicate that 45 minutes for 90. And it's been the season story, since we kicked a ball in August. We cannot seem to find consistency over a kind of level of 90 minutes. We can accept dominant periods for an away team for 10, 15, 20 minutes. And that's obvious because they're going to have to try and compete. But Rangers should be dominating these games and killing them off when we do. And again, that's been an issue for us recently, winning games 1-0. Far too many of them because we're not finishing our chances, albeit Dessers is coming on to a little bit of the game now, but I'd still sell him, by the way. That's my opinion, but if we get a chance. But the boys 2 fantastic goals in the past 2 games, so hats off to him for that.
Yeah, hats off to him indeed, especially with what he's kind of been going through, in a sense, with being not even second, sometimes third in the pecking order, especially when Danilo was fit. So yeah, no, well said. But the first half started, of course, you did mention there, Ricky, that there was a couple of times that Dundee United hit the post. Albie had a header off the post and then cleared off the line. Then Stevenson had a long-range drive. There was a good layoff. There was a good save from Butland as well, bit of a deflection. You started thinking, Dundee United are up for this, and their goal did come. Poor defending from the throw. Proper kind of falls over in the box. There's a bit of a stramash. We are second to every ball, and it's fired into the net. Ryan, is this just Groundhog Day once again?
It's just, I think Dundee United probably realised where our weaknesses lay. We've not got 2 kind of dominant centre halves out there. I think Diamandi's quite weak at the front post. He was the kind of the first guy, and he just gets barged out the way. Arguably a free kick, to be honest with you, if you look back on it. If we'd actually made a bit of a meal of it. But he's just weak. He's standing kind of flat-footed. He's easy to push off the ball. Rami's got a toe in there as well. He could probably do better. But I'm also looking at the goalkeeper as well. The goalkeeper's 6'5", and the ball's in there with a long time. See, think about long throw-ins. The ball's in there for a very, very long time. You know where it's going. So if you get an idea of the guy's range with his throw, because he's only going to be able to throw it so far with the throw. If you work out what his range is, you know where the ball's going to come every single time. So the goalkeeper, once he gets that range, needs to come and get that. If he doesn't think his defence can deal with it, he can come and get it. If he doesn't get it, chances are he's going to get a free kick. But you get PTSD from Thursday night at Old Trafford, and you find out why Jack Butland doesn't come for crosses. So, but we could be doing better, and I think on another day we probably should be defending that.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I do think a lot has got into Butland's head now as well. At the minute, he's just not in the best form, even before his injury. Yeah, no, not a good start to the game. Obviously, a goal down at Tannadice. We all know how difficult that can be. I'll come on to you in just a second, Jock, but don't forget, guys, like and subscribe to the channel. There's lots of people watching this today that aren't subscribed. It's free. Just hit subscribe and then put the notifications on, and you'll be notified when the Rangers Journal are live. There's lots of shows and lots of more shows coming soon as well, so do get liking and subscribing to the Rangers Journal. So after the goal, Jock, we're looking very dishevelled. The passing's all over the place. Igamane was fantastic at winning the ball and getting past people and then just laying off the wrong pass. And it wasn't just him. I almost forgot that Bajrami was playing. What did you make of Bajrami's first half performance, Jock? And what do you think is wrong with him at the minute? Is he just struggling to adapt to Scottish football?
I don't know, because he's another one of these guys that's come in and he can, he has moments. He's shown flashes of what he can do, and in my opinion, he's always involved in the game, but not doing much. There's no real output from it. Yes, his stats passes is probably ridiculous because that's all he seems to be doing, and he does work back and track back and that, but there's still no real end product or anything from him. And I thought we would see more from him in that Fraserburgh game, but again, it's another game it kind of just passed him by. He was involved in some of the things, but nothing really went right for him. Again, as Ricky says, there was a bad touch for the goal. He could have kicked the ball anywhere else and what he tried to do, and would have probably not we probably wouldn't have conceded. He could have put it out anywhere, but he put it straight back into the mixer, and that was just chaos for the goal. And then, like you say, after that, it's just the passing's all over the place. We just looked vulnerable. The defence was all over the place as well. And then I think this is what I think happened here is this is when Dundee United started picking on Diamande. If you noticed that, they started kicking him up and down the park. And whenever he turned around and gave to off the referee at one of the points, that's when he decided, I'm not having this. And then he went up the park and scored. Because he took on 4 guys and pinned the ball by 4 guys to put it in the far corner. But it took him to get kicked for the best part of 20 minutes, 25 minutes, to turn around and give the referee a so-and-so to say, what are you doing here? And then that seemed to lift the whole team. And then McKelvey came out in the second half, and the second half went the way it went. But I just thought, look, Bajrami, nowhere to be seen. Igamane was shown, did you see the clip that's doing the rounds on Twitter the day of all his touches in the Dundee United game? Ridiculous, but like you say, the final third, it just wasn't there. The passes going in the right place, we just weren't going there. But everything up before that was fantastic. The nutmegs, the one touches to get by people, the way he bullies people out the way to make the space, everything was perfect up until the final ball. And that was just, again, that just summed up the first half. We were just a wee bit scatty all over the pitch. And we just didn't really produce anything until Diamande just decided to take the game by the scruff of the neck, which is something we haven't really seen from him.
I do agree. Diamande was the next guy I was going to come on to, because you did notice in that first half they were really going in aggressively on Diamande. Now, Diamande doesn't shy away from a tackle himself at times, but they really were targeting him. And he did seem to channel that rage, didn't he, Ricky? He just took the ball, looked up, and absolutely scalped it into the net. Do you think we've got to start... has Clement got to start beating up the players in the dressing room before they go out on the park?
Well, the one thing I think we are missing, I think we all agree, is leadership. We haven't got MD screaming and bawling and shouting. Young Barron did it when he first came in. Didn't care who he was shouting and screaming it. I think Raskin's got it. Perhaps there's an argument that Raskin should be made our captain now going forward, but we won't do as long as Tav's on the pitch. But we don't have any leaders, and it's worrying. We need somebody screaming at these people to give that extra 10-15% on the pitch rather than just blasé doing what they want to do, because there's nobody kind of telling them off. And it's a bit of a worry for me, Bajrami, going back to what Jock was saying there, he's so lightweight for the Scottish game. I don't think he fits. He doesn't go and challenge for 50-50s. So he's a luxury player that we're carrying at the moment. I mean, he's an Albanian, for God's sake, and I don't understand. We must have the softest Albanian in the world. It does not win any challenges. It just won't go for a challenge. And for me, I don't think we can afford to have the luxury of him on one side, cheering him when he's fit in the other. We're just, the balance isn't right. We're not winning our 50-50, so it's put us under pressure. And that's half the problem with Bajrami for me. Talented, yeah, but he needs to do the other side, the ugly side of the game as well, and he's not fit for it. Not for the Scottish domestic game anyway. That's my opinion, and I don't see it improving.
Yeah, no, interesting stuff, Ricky. There was a great pod the other day from Scotty and Redian from the Albanian football Twitter page. He's obviously here at the Rangers Journal as well, and does appear on a few pods. He's a big supporter of Bajrami, so they did a pod a good few days ago, which you'll find on YouTube. So guys, if you've not seen it, do have a look at that, because I think there's a lot more to come from Bajrami. I personally think he might be carrying a knock or something. There's something not right for the way that he's just gone completely flat. Somebody else in the comments actually did put that they do think he's coming on to a game a bit now. I think that's probably based on what we saw him in the second half. But Ryan, I'm going to come to you and I'm going to speak to you now about Proper. Now, obviously, Proper didn't have the best first half. I think the back line didn't really have the best first half per se. We were caught out a few times. Did he redeem himself in the second half with that jammy deflected shot that give us the early lead?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm quite pleased the way the big man's actually come on. He's there when we've needed him. Obviously, he was getting described as a bit of a bomb scare, to be honest with you. There was so many people asking him to be withdrawn from the team. But through circumstances, one thing or another, he seems to be pretty much one of the first names in the team sheet now. So I think he's played his way back into form. He was decent at Old Trafford on Thursday night. He's obviously up now. He's contributing to the other side of the park, which is what we need as well. His scoring statistics in Holland were great as well. He was actually one of the top goal-scoring defenders in Holland. I'm pleased for him, to be honest with you, because it's one of those ones that he could have sunk quite easily. And it maybe shows a bit of character for him as well, to show how well he's done to get back in the team and, challenge for his place.
Yeah, no, do you know what? I do agree there, because a lot of people are criticising us bringing in Proper, and I can't see why, in the respect that you've gone after a defender that's in a league that's not too dissimilar in some respects. I know obviously every league is different to Scotland. It's a very physical league, but the third best team, a really good defence, best defence in the league, and the top scoring defender. What more could you want? He does play a lot better in Europe. I think European football does suit him a bit more, but maybe he is adapting his game a little bit more. We've seen it with loads of players in Scotland. They don't just come up here and waltz it. It's very rare that happens. So I think we'll see more from Popper hopefully next season as he goes into the Scottish game a bit more. We'll go through to the penalty incident now. Of course, 61 minutes in, I think the world knows about this incident. There was a lot of incidents in this game. I don't think Nick Walsh, his report card for this game is going to be very high scoring, but of course the captain Gallagher in the back line, ball comes into the box as it's about to be played in. He turns his back and ball comes in, slaps off his hand, off of the floor. Bit of basketball in the box. Ricky, is that a penalty for you?
Never a penalty kick. And I'd be annoyed if it was the other way about. I think the way the ball, it wasn't even a shot at goal. I think it came off the back of the Rangers player's head about that, and it wasn't even goal bound. And that's one thing you need to consider as well. And yeah, he's like a big starfish, but it's when he came down, the ball sort of hit. He was actually facing his own goal when it hit his hand. If it was a shot and it was goal bound, I could see the argument. I know Ryan's going to go against me here, but no, if that was going to give against us in our box, I'd be absolutely livid if that was a penalty kick. Absolutely livid. So for me, not a penalty kick.
To be fair, I think we have conceded a few similar to that in the past. I think one that not exactly similar, but I think the Suter one that against St Johnson at Ibrox, where he wasn't looking and the hand was out.
That was goal bound.
No, that was at the edge. That was a cross coming in. That one. To be fair, there's been a few I know, but the one I'm thinking of was that there was a cross coming in. But yeah, Ryan, you were shaking your head there. I'm ready. I'm ready for the battle. Ryan, is that a penalty for you?
100%. His hands, he's flapping his arms about like a seagull. Like his arms in a completely unnatural position. And I always think about what would happen if his hand wasn't there. If his hand wasn't there, the ball then bounces up in the box and it's up there to get challenged. He's practically playing basketball with it. And he's almost at the rails of another sport. I draw a comparison. Obviously, you're talking about Suter's one there. There's various ones. I remember one at Rugby Park. I think it must have been last season if Lundstrom was there. And John Lundstrom basically went up and blocked a shot. It was a speculative shot from miles outside the box. And he turned his back. And I think it hit round about hereish on his arm. And done Kilmarnock got a penalty kick. We ended up winning the game 2-1. I think Tom Lawrence scored both the goals that night. And we won the game 2-1. But if that's a penalty for Lundstrom and come back, that's are you allowed to just basically stand there like that with the ball and just it's all right. I've got my back turned. Nobody shot at it. Like it's got to be a penalty. His hands are in an unnatural position as well. As long as if it's down by his side, it's an accident, but it's a penalty kick.
Oh no, totally. There's definitely no intention to do it. No, I definitely agree there. It's. For me, one of the big problems now, especially in football and especially with VAR, what is a handball? That's the annoying thing. Yes, he's not looking at it, and I think that's the only thing that seems to be the only thing that's got any substance to this, where they don't award it as a penalty. If it's awarded at the other end, if that's awarded at the other end, I'd probably say, well, fair enough. He shouldn't be having his arms out like that. And that's the thing. Jock, is that a penalty for you?
Pen all day long. If you actually watch it back and over again, it looks just like he's trying to do the Ronaldo celebration where his arms comes out and he's done that. You know what I mean? You can't. And like Ryan says, the ball, if it doesn't hit his hand, it's going back in the area. So he stopped the ball from going into another dangerous area. How is it not a penalty? I couldn't believe it when I seen it. I was like, how is he not getting that? Because we've had worse given against us in all competitions, Champions League qualifiers, Europa League, everywhere. I just couldn't believe it when he did it. And I was like, what's going on here? Surely that even VAR should have kicked down and said, you've missed that. That's a penalty. Because the laws of the game, they keep changing the handball rules. That's the biggest problem, is that it constantly changes. Yeah. And it always seems to be us that decide to change later than everybody else, because you kind of follow what the Premier League is. And there's handballs chopped off and given and all sorts in the Premier League every weekend. So you sort of see, you can see the way it's changed the way defenders approach the ball now when it comes to defending. Their arms are tucked in like this, or their hands behind their back like that, and they're trying to use your shoulders because that bit there's the only bit they're allowed to block, because that IFAB rule, the wee picture where you can see the logo of the shirt, that's the bit the ball can hit, and it's not a handball. He's turned around like he's slapped it. I mean, come on.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you there. AJ Ryan, he's saying, Ryan, you're saying it's a penalty because of other bad decisions. To be fair, I think in Scotland, if we based our knowledge of what's a penalty or not of a refereeing decisions, I think we would be none the wiser, I think. But
I think the way you look at that is a boiled egg is a boiled egg, whether it's a hard boiled egg or a soft boiled egg, it's still a boiled egg.
Fair enough. AJ's saying best rule, hand to ball, ball to hand. Yeah, I think one of the big problems is in Scotland, you do see them given, and I think that is one of the things you do see them given. We've obviously not had a penalty all season. We're the only team in the Scottish Premiership to not have been awarded a penalty all season. So, yeah, no, I can see why it can be seen as not being given. I think they've looked at it and thought he's not looking at the ball. It's not a direct shot on goal. However, is that a tactic now? If the ball's about to come in the box, just flap your arms out and look the other way? I don't know. That's the thing. Because, yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? So,
could you imagine if that happened in an Old Firm game? Honestly.
Well,
imagine if that happened in an Old Firm game. Oh, hell, ridiculous.
We've already had Johnson slapping the ball out of play as it is. So
regardless of what way that's going, if that was an Old Firm game, all hell would break loose.
Oh, it would. It totally would. So later on in the game, we nearly have an own goal as a cross kind of coming in across the floor. Raskin gets a toe on it, and it's nearly bit into the back of the net, comes off the post. Trapanovsky, who came on, he had a miss from close range. They were starting to build a little bit again. We were looking better, linking up a little bit more, because Rami was definitely more involved. And of course, we get our goal, which was an absolutely fantastic goal. From yes, we've had the second one. It's the third one now, of course. Cyril Dessers. So Ricky, Cyril Dessers wasn't exactly involved heavily in the first half. At times I didn't even think he was there, but in the second half he was playing much better with Igamane. A great goal there, great finish right into the top corner. Do you think that he's coming on a bit of form now, Dessers?
It's a strange one with Dessers, isn't it? Because he can score the sublime goals, as we've seen, and he still want to take 4 or 5 touches in the box, which he's not going to get, and that's the frustrating part about him. He'll take a goal which nobody would think he'd ever going to score, and he scores them, and then the ones he should be tapping in. Recently, he missed a chance when he was 2 meters out. So that's your Dessers, sublime finish, absolutely fantastic. But you got to see young Lovelace pass to him was just inch perfect, wasn't it? And the likes of Lovelace and Bailey Rice and Curtis, you've got to get these boys involved. We've got to get them integrated into that team, so they've got the mixture, because the fans will be right behind them. They'll allow them to make the mistakes because they're kids. They want them to progress. So let them get on that pitch, let them make the mistakes, and let the senior players just make sure that they're embedded in that first team. Otherwise, we're going to lose very talented players, and we can't financially afford to lose these type of players, because they will make us a lot of money if they're embedded in our first team. They're talented boys, and I just hope that Clement, depending on who he brings in between now and Friday, I dare say we're going to talk about the penalty coming on shortly. I think Rangers will win the appeal. If they don't, then I think that'll be Bailey Race will start at the weekend in there. But I'm desperate to see Bailey Race and Lovelace. For me, Bajrami needs to be dropped and Lovelace put in there so that Bajrami knows he's got a bit of competition. You know, we all know if you get competition, you raise your game. At the moment, I just think Bajrami may think that he's guaranteed that starting spot because of the money we brought him in for. And that's another thing about Clement, because he did bring him in for that kind of money. He's trying to justify it by playing him all the time. And I think that's not just Clement, that's any manager. They're going to try and justify their outlay, which is only natural. But yeah, Dessa's goal was absolutely sublime. There's only one place it could go, and the boy smashed it straight in there. It was a great finish. Well done.
Right in the postage stamp. If you're going to score a goal, that's the place to put it, isn't it?
Brilliant.
And that was almost a perfect end to the game. We were looking up well. We were building from the back very well. Some good balls forward. We just seemed full of confidence. And in additional time, in the last couple of minutes, there was a bit of an incident, of course, between Holt and Mohamed Diomande. They're both on the ball. Holt shoves Diomande, and as Diamande's kind of getting pushed away, he kind of has his arm up, and straight away the fantastic referee Nick Walsh comes over and straight away gives Mohamed Diomande a red card. He's asked to look at it on the monitor by his colleagues in the VAR booth, and he still stays with his decision of a red card. Now, do I even need to ask you, Ryan, what you think about this?
I don't see a red card in there at all. Like, I can't. I've looked at it back. I've looked to this angle, that angle. I don't see what he sees at all. There's nothing there. I know there's this talk that he puts his hand up as he's moving away, but he's just been pushed. So naturally, he's going to put his hand up and go, look, you know, he could be just gesturing. What's going on? If anything, Declan Gallagher should have been sent off for his involvement in this. He's on a yellow card and runs 20 yards to start pushing people about. Fair play that you're asking for getting in there and sticking up for his player, by the way, when Tavernier was nowhere to be seen. Come back to what Ricky was saying earlier on. I just don't see it. I get the point of VAR said, mate, you need to go across here, clear and obvious error. I don't see what you see. And he's went across and he's had a look at it. And there, I look forward to the audio because there's nothing there. It's madness, absolute madness.
Do you know what? That's what I've been thinking all day. I'm looking forward to hearing this audio because clearly, you know, as we've seen Sky Sports and their kind of referee watch, and you've seen Dermot and everyone unanimously saying that this isn't a red card offence. There's a great comment here, actually, which if you do watch it back, you do see it. He's reaching for his card before the incident even finishes. And why? I don't know. Has he seen something else? I know there was a little bit of stramash afterwards, but directly with that incident, he was getting his card out straight away, a red card at that. You know, Jock, what do you make of this? Because I struggle to put this into words. I struggle to verbalize this. I can normally put a level head on things and say, right, this might be what they've seen. This might not be what they've seen. Yes, Diamande's arm is up, but he's just been shoved with two hands. You are going to put your arms up, aren't you?
It's what does your man says? It was a biomechanics. Your boy Michael Stewart. It's biomechanics. You get pushed. You're going to, you know, you push with both hands. But if you watch it from, there's so many different angles of this, and each angle all gives you a different perspective, but it all points to the fact that he did nothing wrong. The first angle you see, and as you see, Walsh isn't even looking at it. He's looking that way, and then he sees it out the corner of his eye, and then you watch the videos, you see his hand goes straight to the back pocket. He's straight away. He's obviously got something in his head that I'm for sending somebody off. Sky showed a different angle, more from the side of Nick Walsh, and it shows you the Dundee player actually kicking Diamande's foot before he pushes him. So I thought maybe that's what the red card was for initially. But when he's asked to go to the monitor, the VAR monitor, and look at it, they only show you the same angle over and over again. Sky showed you 2 or 3 different. So I don't understand, why are they not showing him different angles? Because if you're asking him to go and check that, and you're only going to show him the one angle, and he's got that in his head, and he's only seen the one angle, and in the angle he's seen it in real time, that's not going to change his mind, even though how many times they can say to him, we think you've got this wrong. They need to be able to speed up the process of getting different angles of situations and scenarios for the referee to take a look at it. The example I'll give you is the Old Firm goal that we get chopped off whenever Dessers got tripped, because the Celtic player actually tripped himself. The ref was shown one angle, and he looked at it for no less than like 8 seconds. Instead of taking time, look at it again and get different angles played to him. Say, right, show me this angle, show me that angle. Like, have you seen it in rugby? They do that in rugby, and rugby have it to a T. So they make sure the right decision's made. We're not doing that in Scotland. And we haven't been doing it since this system's been brought in. And it's just another, as you've seen it on Sky Sports News again today, everybody's laughing about the state of our officiating, the state of our referees. And we're a laughing stock again, because we can't even get the basic decisions right when the evidence is in front of us and the technology's there, and we can't even use the technology right. That's just where we are with VAR, and it's been like that since it's come in, and I don't see it changing.
No, I do agree, Jock. Steve G did say he wasn't reaching for his card. The red wasn't in the back pocket, it was in his front pocket, because when you do watch that clip, you are told he's going for his card. He was going for something, but then there we go, that's clarified that a little bit. He does say watch it again. We'll give that a little bit of a watch later. Obviously, there was a few players there that should have really been carded. There was obviously a player that was carded that wasn't actually carded on the pitch, but it came out in the referee's report later because there was such a bit of a melee going on. Personally, I think the Walsh has kind of stuck with his guns, because he's thought to himself, oh, you know what, there is an arm out, there's intent, when there's clearly not any intent, where you see a double shove and his arms kind of up flailing with no connection. And even if it had a connected, now don't get me wrong, you know, if 2 players put their heads together, one of them's probably getting sent off, even if it's not a headbutt, because of, you know, how it's deemed in football. But yeah, this one, I did see earlier that the appeal against the red card is going to be heard tomorrow. So that'll be very interesting when we do hear that. And I'm sure we'll hear with Willie Collum and, of course, Gordon Duncan. Yes, I was trying to think who it was that do the YouTube analysis video. So that'll be interesting to see. Now, this pod is called "How Much Is Hamza Igamane Worth?" So I know that's a bit like how long is a piece of string, but you can't deny that despite us having a very poor season by our standards, Diamande has been definitely not Diamande. Igamane, do you know what? It's because I'm just thinking about this red card in my head. No, Igamane is a ray of sunshine, and has given us definitely something to shout about when you look at him this season. So we'll have a look at his stats for this year. So he's played 20 games in the Scottish Premiership. He's got 9 goals, 1 assist. In Europa League, he's got some fantastic stats. He's played 5 games, got 4 goals, 1 assist. And of course, he has played a couple of games in the League Cup as well and had an assist there. So 13 goals in 27 matches, which I think averages a goal every, is it 1.5 games or something like that? Ricky Igamane, how vital is he to us for the rest of the season? Do you think if a bid comes in from now, do you think we are letting him go? How do you see this going coming into the remaining days of the transfer window?
Well, everybody's got a price, Andrew. It's as simple as that. The good thing that we do have is he's on a long contract with us, which so all the cards are in our side of the table. So that's the one major bonus. But we have to bear in mind that this lad came into us a little bit late, and he supposedly came to his injured. Basically, his levels of fitness went up to scratch. So I've got to take my hats off to Clermont for this one. Clermont did not put him in that team to Clermont thought he was ready. We don't think, well, where is this lad that we got from Morocco? This lad, who incidentally was part of the Morocco under-23 squad that got to the semi-final of the youth of the under-23 World Cup. So obviously a talented squad, and he was part of that squad. So we knew we were going to get somebody that knew what he was doing. But then we saw flashes of him initially. But what we're seeing from this lad now in the last sort of like 6, 7, 8 weeks is he's got the absolute lot, really, really strong. He can hold the ball up. He can control the ball while he's under pressure against these big bruising centre-halves sitting in Scotland. But his touch is just ridiculous. At times you think to yourself, you got away with that. That was lucky. But it's not luck. It ain't luck. I mean, he's shown it against all these teams in Europe now that boy is a special, special talent. And, he's a young lad. He's still got a lot of learning to do. And if he can just keep on learning and progressing the way he is doing in the Rangers jersey, come the summer, then Rangers could be looking at a big, big transfer fee for that boy. Although I wouldn't be adverse to keeping another season. So 18 months' time at that particular point, look at selling before we get into the realms of not getting the money we require, i.e. Kent, Morelos, unless we can turn it into a longer contract. But we need to get the timing right for this one because that boy's going to make us a lot of money.
I think you're right, Ricky. I think you're right. I'm not sure with a lot of things, but definitely he will make us a lot of money. I do see that. Ryan, when you look at a player like Igamane, obviously he didn't score yesterday, but you could see what he added to the game yesterday and still put in an absolutely fantastic performance. I think one of his key attributes is just being able to take the ball and just either not make somebody or just put it past them, and nobody's quick enough to catch up to him. What do you think, Ryan? Do you think he'll work better with somebody up top with him like Dessers? Do you think we could actually have a classic partnership which will help him more, maybe even help Dessers more?
Yeah. I spoke at kind of my preference at all times is to have him up front with either Danilo or Dessers, to be honest with you. More so because his work rate seems to bring him out of, the kind of traditional number 9 position. He seems to want to get more involved in the games. And by all means, his talent, and you can see his touches and his contribution out with the box merits what he's doing there. So by all means, play the boy where he's played best, and where it helps other people. It keeps somebody like Dessers, who seems to have turned into this kind of number 9 poacher. I always think of a number 9 as the guy who stays between the goalposts. Your Chris Boyds of this world, your Alan McCoys of this world that are there. Your number 9 is there to score goals. And if he's doing work in other parts of the park and he's doing it well, what's to stop him? Just let him go on with it. He's occupying defenders. He's pulling people out. I don't think Kevin Hope fancied getting into midfield to chase him yesterday, which it was happening more and more, which, frees up space. But the boys get talent in abundance, and long may it continue. It's great to see.
Jock, do you think that Igamane, actually, just what I'm about to ask here, Steve G's put a comment in. Would you play Igamane on the wing or just in behind? And then, he can feed the striker a little bit more, because he's very capable of winning the ball and driving forward. That's something we saw quite a lot from him. Do you think that might be worthwhile, or do you think you'll lose the goal threat that he has?
That's a good question. I think he's capable of playing anywhere across that front three, to be honest. I think you can stick him on the right and he'll be a handful for anybody he's come up against. He has that raw ability and that you see it game on game. He's just improving. He's just grown into himself. I just wish we had the better sort of quality around him that could probably give him the service that he needs, because he'll score. He can score any type of goal. We've seen that. He's shown that. And I think I'd want him to stay up front and be that focal point that he can take, because it's going to take 2 boys to stop him, because he's that strong. They'll have to do a number on him. So if anything, he can drag people away, create space for others. You can see that in his pass. His passing ability is fantastic. The way he can put in a pass is something I've noticed in this last maybe sort of 5, 6, maybe 7 weeks since Christmas time. Those weighted passes that he plays through. There's nobody else in the team I think can play a ball like that. That's something we crave. Is that ball that can go over the top or through the middle that splits defenders. It's something that strikers have the right to get in behind and run onto. They thrive in that. So yeah, you saw it when you first. It was actually Dundee United away when we actually got to see a proper look at him, because he came on against Celtic at where we got done.
Arcade,
and didn't see much of him, and you didn't see it. But then he came on against Dundee United, and there was one point, you're only on the pitch a few minutes, and he took the ball out of the air spun and done 2 players, and you're like, right, okay, this guy's got something. He's just something different that we've not really seen, maybe since Jelavic, that technical ability. So yeah, again, where do you play him? I just want him to play where we're going to get the most out of him.
Ricky, you want to say something there, big man?
Yeah, I just think we have got a very, very talented pairing if we get him and Danilo playing together, because Danilo's a talented player. He's skillful, and between the two of them, they can rip people apart. Dessers hasn't got the intelligence to link the play, whereas Danilo and Igamane, for me, going forward, could be 2 fantastic pairing. It could be a great pairing. Just work on it, the 2 of them together, they get everything going from everything.
Obviously there, Ryan, Smoke was saying Igamane would suit Liverpool's style of play, and I can kind of see that with the way they kind of use their wingers and their fullbacks. You get plenty of service. Obviously West Ham allegedly were interested in him. They had been looking at him. Obviously that went quiet. You don't know if that was real or not. Do you see the Premier League as possibly, and I'm not trying to get rid of him here. I'm going to be spamming any tweet that comes out and just say, oh, he's absolutely duff, he's crap, you don't want him. But do you think the Premier League's where he will probably go, or do you see him maybe going elsewhere in Europe? I know this is if, what's, buts and maybes, but where do you think is the next best step for him after Rangers if he has to leave?
Yeah, to be honest with you, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit for him. I do think there is a stepping stone in place for him to end up with somebody like Liverpool. It's such a compliment for him to be, told that he could be, suited to the style of play and arguably the best team in the world at the moment. So a massive compliment for him. He's got the British work permit now as well because he signed for us. I think that's valid for 5 years. When he signs for us, he gets the 5-year contract. I think his work permit follows him. So that will certainly suit a lot of other clubs as well down south. He could end up the French league as well. Being Moroccan, I'm sure that French is probably his first language. Somebody might fancy a punt from Spain, Germany, anywhere, to be honest with you. He could end up mega bucks out in the Saudi league. One of these Saudi Arabian teams might just look at him and go, we'll take him. And how much do you want for him? It might be tough for a young boy of that age to refuse the Saudi money that might come his way. But it's great to see that the player trading model, the much maligned player trading model that we've been speaking about that's not been working, is finally looks as if it's starting to get into gear and moving on. And I think Ricky was saying about taking an offer for Dessers. I think Dessers staying, to be honest with you, would be quite pivotal in what Igamane could do. We know we probably can't trust Dino's fitness at the moment, so we've got to be quite wary that we're not overusing Igamane and playing him when maybe he shouldn't be playing. We've got to have the ability to take him out of the team. He is now our star asset as well, so you're not just talking about a young Moroccan boy, you're talking about potentially 50 million quid worth of football player. And if the manager says, the sports scientist says he shouldn't be playing today, he can't play. Because if you play him and he bursts his hamstring, he does his calf, he does his groin, we've got to be very, very careful. And selling a striker, I don't think it's this moment in time to do that. I think Dessers actually can be quite pivotal in the development of Igamane, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think, seen from the past few games, they do complement each other quite well at times. I think, Igamane does the work that Dessers doesn't do all the time, which can, as you say, can be quite pivotal. And obviously you're speaking about the player trading model there. You know what? I always remember when he was brought in, I think he was brought in as our 7th signing, and Clement said he is one for the future. We knew we had to get him now, or we wouldn't be able to get him. I think, what was it, we paid 1.5 million for him, was it? Because it was, I think, undisclosed at the time. And you are starting to see now, with this structure in place, obviously players like Jeff they brought in, obviously not all players have hit the ground running straight away, and a lot of players have been written off straight away as well. Has happened, but we are starting to see obviously a lot of rumours circulating tonight about Jeff Day himself. Allegedly Chelsea have been watching him. Now I don't know how true that is, but especially with their 46,000 players on the books at the minute, so I don't know if they just like collecting them, but we are starting to see some fruits, and I think especially in Europe, we are seeing the calibre of some of these players. And just for the Igamane, you look at that goal against Spurs, the way he took it. I just don't think we have many strikers in our team that could take that goal like the way he did. Danilo possibly, but he probably would have injured himself in the process, I think. Obviously, Danilo's injured himself at the minute. So over the next few weeks, we are going to be thin on the ground. So I'm hoping that Dessers does stay. I think Dessers will stay. I know players all have their price, and I think the same with Igamane. Unless we are going to get £20 million, if we were offered £20 million now, I think we take it for Igamane. But I don't see us doing that now. Obviously, we've had some players off the books just today alone. Obviously, Birmingham Rangers have taken Dowell off our hands, and a few other players are making moves now. It looks like Lawrence will be leaving in this window, which does free up money for wages. It does free up potential funds. Granted, a lot of these will be loan deals, but yeah, it's not looking terribly bad at the minute that we do have to sell Hamza at the minute. I do hope we keep a hold of him. I think he could be very pivotal in this European run, because obviously we've got one league match left, and then we are into, hopefully we'll go into the last 16, but that would be, I think a lot of other results would have to go in our favour. It's looking like round 32. Who knows? We could get another great run in Europe, and it just brings money into the club. So it's something we need at the minute. Ricky, obviously we'll be wrapping up the pod shortly. How many goals do you think the man's going to bag this season? I know at the minute he's already on, was it 13 I said? I can't even remember now. I've got it all written down here. Yeah. Where are we? What has he scored at the minute? He has 13 goals in 27 matches. So where do you think he's going to finish up this season?
Well, I think he'll be in the 20s, but I don't think he's the out-and-out striker, that he's going to get you 30, 40 goals. I don't think that's his game. He will create just as many as he will actually score himself, because he's got the ability to do that, hence why he drops a little bit deep. But just on Ryan, I wouldn't advocate selling Dessers if we're not going to bring somebody in. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to go, but if we can get some money for Dessers, and bear in mind, all the negatives that Dessers is still there. He has scored a couple of cracking goals recently. If we can get good money for him between now and Friday, and able to bring somebody in, then I would let Dessers go. He's 29, 30, and his value is just going to keep on diminishing. I think he's on a wee bit of a high at the moment. I think we can maximise any money we can get, providing we can get a replacement. I would get rid. But that's my opinion. But Igamane, well, thank God he's ours.
yeah, something actually going our way for once. I don't see that very often, do you? Yeah. Obviously, this is just coming in. Chris Jack allegedly has confirmed the Chelsea and Chefty link. So, yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes on that. Maybe it's for the summer, who knows? But you know what? At least Igamane is our player. Ryan, what would you put the value of Igamane at the minute? What bid would you take?
Say 50 million a minute ago there. I totally regret saying it.
Well, we've got to drive it up. So, yeah, I agree with you, mate.
Ryan, he's heading that way. Mate. If we keep him performing in direction, then he'll get there, but we need to make sure we sell him at a prime time when he's worth that.
Yeah. Summer. Maybe not our move, but certainly probably his next move. You could be looking at that kind of price range for him. You've got to probably learn the lessons of Morelos and that £15 million that came from Lille. If we can get a decent amount of money now, but we build it so that we'll see money coming forward in the future, performance bonuses, sell-on bonuses, all these kind of things. If we can build it in such a way that we can do that there. The other thing as well that we've got to do is we've got to make sure that we also don't hold this boy back, that if a decent bid comes in, that we do sell him, because I've no doubt there was a promise to sell him and a gentleman's agreement that if a decent enough bid comes in, you will, because when you are looking for the next one, you've got to say, right, look at what we've done previously, that we've got a bid in, rather than have held you to ransom, because that might put other potential youth and other talent from other countries coming to us that I'm not coming to you because look, we did Igamane, you held them to ransom, you promised my move and it never materialised. So you've got to show that it works. As far as the numbers concerned, you probably got to compare it to other ones. How much did Edouard go to Crystal Palace for?
It was 15.
Was that 18, was it? I don't know.
15,
I honestly
18.
can tell you.
So a similar age to him, having a kind of similar numbers, hopefully, as well. So you've got to kind of compare it to that. That's the only kind of real.
I think the market's changed a lot since then as well. I think it's really been driven up as well, which is mad. Yeah.
Anything above 15, I would be happy to talk.
Anything above 15, you'd be happy to talk. I think there'll be a few guys on the phone now saying Ryan said 15. We'll take it at 15. Jock, Ryan makes some good points here, actually. Obviously, you've got to sell at the right time. We failed to do that before. We were holding out with Morelos, understandably so. However, we obviously held out a little bit too long. Does that mean that you take that first bid? If you do have a £50 million on the table there and then with a possible sell-on clause, would you take that now?
No, I wouldn't. Not first. You never take the first bid. Personally, I think we should be looking to break transfer record for Scotland. I think the ceiling for this guy is ridiculous. There's somebody pointed out in the comments actually that we hold the cards with this one because he's only in the door, so he's on a good contract, a good long contract for us. So if we can see out the season with him and he's doing well, give him another contract and then try and keep him for a year and then sell him and just say, look, this is our plan for you. This is what we want for you. Just keep raising the bar. Give him a good contract at the end of the season, sit down and talk. If he keeps performing the way he's going, the interest is going to gather. And what I hope is, as Ryan says, Saudi club comes in or a Premier League club comes in because they've got money to burn. And that's the sort of money we want. We want maybe a big 2-5 with a lot of zeros after it.
Well, there seems to be Premier League clubs sniffing around other players at the minute, so we'll happily take their money. I think that's about it now for tonight. We're into 57 minutes. We've had an absolutely fantastic pod, so thank you ever so much, Ricky, Ryan and Jock, as always. Do stay tuned to the Rangers Journal Network. Lots coming this week. Of course, we got the build-up to the USG match, Union Saint-Gilloise. This is where Igamane will probably score a hat-trick, and then we end up losing him on deadline day. But yeah, so thank you all. Every night is a Rangers Journal night, and do subscribe, do keep that bell notification belled. No, it makes no sense whatsoever. Do click the bell notification, then you'll be notified anytime the Rangers Journal is live, and follow the Rangers Journal on Twitter at the Rangers Journal. So every night is a Rangers Journal night. Ricky, Ryan, Jock, thank you ever so much, guys, and we'll see you all soon. Take care.
It's one of those nights where you could have been on for another hour, to be honest with you.